Hello, hello. Can you hear me on YouTube? All right. You hit that live stream button and it takes a couple minutes before people actually get the notification, and then you join up and it's actually like a couple minutes into the speaker speaking. So I could just wait a couple seconds before I really get going. But I want to say hi to everybody watching on Facebook or YouTube if you're out there. Hello to all the incarnates and discarnate spirits present. And my name is Steve McPherson. For those of you who don't know, now you know. And we're here tonight to talk about enough is enough. Knowing when to say when. And before we begin, let's just start with a quick prayer. So let's everybody just, if you want, you can close your eyes, but I won't be able to see you, so you don't have to. Let's just take a moment. Let's elevate our vibration. Let's focus. Let's shift our attention inward. Let's let everything that happened today, let it fade away. Whatever happened before we got here, we can just let it be. And let's just take a moment and reflect on our gratitude. We have this opportunity to be together, apart from each other, but together, united in spirit, that we can take this opportunity to let a little light into our lives. And each day, we want to let a little bit more light in and let this light grow so that everybody we meet can see this light in our lives. When we shine a light for others, the light lights up our path as well. So we should all strive to be points of light here in Pompano Beach or wherever we're from, that we can all share the light and be workers of the light. And I ask God, I ask Jesus, the good spirits, to be with me tonight. Give me the eyes to see, give me the ears to hear, and give me the heart to speak. So be it. So let's begin. So, welcome everyone. And so I've been paying attention to a lot of the talks we've been having for the last 6 weeks or so. And I noticed that everybody seems to be talking about in times of crisis. And I actually thought of the idea for this talk back in February. And I've been thinking, like, should I still talk about it or not? Because it has nothing really to do with the pandemic. But I thought, maybe I could actually use a little break from all the pandemic talks. And then it's still relevant no matter what. So I want to talk about when to say when. So to really begin, I rehearsed this talk in my bedroom the other night to myself, and it was like really easy for me to talk for about 30 minutes just to myself, and I thought I did a great job. But now we're here, like the pressure's on, so we'll see if we can, I wish I had been recording it. I could just play it back for you guys, because I thought I did pretty good. But tonight I'll see if I can recreate that. I was thinking about actually what led me into the Spiritist Center. So I have to go back about 5 years, and a lot of you, I probably told this story like so many times, so I'll try to make it quick. But about 5 years ago, I had gone on a trip to Brazil, and I went to see a famous healing medium. And the thing was that I wasn't sick. I just was curious, and I really felt like I was looking for direction in my life and needed guidance. And I don't know, I was just looking for something, and I didn't know really what I was looking for. And I had this sort of a pattern where I would pick up a new hobby, whether it's like meditation or Reiki or like Tai Chi I was doing for a while, or all these different things that I was doing. I would pick it up, and then it would last for about 4 years. Everything I did would go for about 4 years, and then I would have to switch to something new. And so I had been going to like participating in like the Reiki circles and this spiritual stuff for about 4 years, and it was like time for me to like switch gears again, and I knew it, and so that's what led me to try. I went to Brazil, and not knowing what I was looking for, and it was about a week after I came back from Brazil that I walked into the Spiritist Center for the first time, and it's funny because I couldn't really tell you why I tried it. I just knew that there was something kind of missing in my life. Even though it didn't really feel like something was missing, I was still compelled to keep, searching and looking for something. But when I got to the Spiritist Center and I heard people talking about Spiritism, and I thought it was interesting, I thought, let me dip my toes in the water a little bit. So I had a copy of the Spirits book, and I started picking it up to read it, because I was coming to the meetings and people were talking, and I was like, I'm not really sure, like these concepts are kind of new to me, so I wanted to familiarize myself with what was in the books, and so I read through the whole Spirits book within about a month. And I'm not saying I like memorized everything and retained everything, but at least I became familiar with what's in there, so that when I got to the Spiritist Center, I could sort of talk to people and be familiar with Spiritism on a certain level. So what I really found in the Spirits book was answers to questions that I never really knew that I had, because that's what the Spirits book is. It's 1,019 questions and answers. And the three main questions that I would talk about, we always talk about what you find through this is, who am I, where did I come from, and where am I going? What happens after we die? And after reading this, it's funny because when I was in Brazil in 2015, people were talking about reincarnation, and I was like, honestly, I'm not really sure if I believe in it. In my life, in the context of my life, I hadn't really received like any evidence for it or against it. So at that time, I just said, I'm not really sure. So it was only after reading Allan Kardec, actually in the Spirits book, a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people, I noticed that when we have lectures and talks about the Spirits book, a lot of people, and that's actually what really hooked me in to Spiritism. So I really recommend, if you haven't read it yet, check out the introduction in the Spirits book, because it's about 70 pages long altogether, but that's actually like a lot of really good stuff in there. And really, when I talk about those three main questions, who am I, where did I come from, where am I going, what we're really getting down to is, what is the purpose of my life? What am I here for? Like, why am I here on this planet? What was I born for? And I have like 1,000 other questions about specific events in my life. Like, why did I go through this? Like, why did this happen? Why did I get put with this family? Why did this happen to me? Why did that happen to me? So through reading this, I can't say that I have all the answers to all those questions. So I'm not trying to oversell it, but what I am trying to say is that I understand how a lot of these processes work now, and I'm satisfied that even if I don't know something 100% at the moment, I'm sure, like beyond a shadow of a doubt, that it will be revealed to me within, within a good time. So in those questions, the meaning of life, what I was really looking for, and what I've been finding, is that I'm looking for example, I'm looking for answers of how should I live my life. And what I'm really asking is like, show me how to live, because I've been really struggling, and I still am working on this, but I always struggle to figure out what's right from wrong. And a lot of people don't really like this. I was kind of talking to a few people about, I'm thinking about giving this talk about right and wrong. They're like, well, I don't really like the words right and wrong. It's too black and white, you know. I don't really like saying it's good or bad, or if it's good or evil. Sometimes in the Spirits book we say if it's ignorant, or if it's, I mean, I don't know, the opposite of ignorant, maybe it's woke. But I don't know if you've ever been through this, but there's a difference between physical pain and moral pain. You know, and physical pain is usually some type of remedy for. But when you're feeling moral pain, it's the kind of pain that you can't go see a doctor because you can't tell them where it hurts. It's just, you're just feeling it, you know, and it's that feeling, I think the good word is anguish, right? Because it's not like there's not a pill I can take. There's, you know, I can't like go see a chiropractor or a massage therapist. It's like, it's something in me, and it usually results because I did something maybe I shouldn't have done, you know, and I still struggle sometimes trying to discern like what's right and what's wrong, and what's like the best decision I should make in circumstance. And really, like, as I come here to the Spiritist Center, I hear all kinds of lectures and a lot of great topics, and a lot of people talking about science and mediumship and really like profound topics. I really always loved when people would talk about the gospel and a lot of you know, Jesus' teachings, because he really helped break it down and give examples that we could really think about, like, you know, and try to find what's right and what's wrong, you know, through the parables and through his teachings. So really that's what I wanted to try to focus on. And I did a little bit of reading to prepare. And so what I found was, you know, there's not always a black and white answer for what's right and what's wrong. You know, it's not always clear 100% like all the time, but we do have a roadmap. And in the introduction, so I'm talking about the Spirits book in book 3, which is the section on divine or natural laws. And the first chapter of that, it's about the characteristic of natural laws. So Allan Kardec asked the spirits, where is God's law written? And the spirits reply, it's in the conscience. So each of us has this little voice inside that lets us know, you know, what's right and what's wrong inside of our conscience. I want to say, usually for me, it's not until after I've done something that little voice is like, you shouldn't have done that. You know, it's like the voice that keeps me awake at night when I'm trying to sleep. But it's there. And sometimes, you know, sometimes it does get stronger. Like, it's even better when it talks to me before I do something and says, like, you know, you're going to regret it if you do that, you know. Like, sometimes I'll write that whole text and then I'll think about it and just erase it without sending it. That's the best time. So I wonder, like, if I have this conscience and allegedly I know right from wrong because the conscience is inside of me, you know, how come I still struggle with it? Why do I have trouble with it? So the very next question is still in number 621. Allan Kardec asks, since humans carry God's law in their conscience, why does it have to be revealed to them? And the spirits answer, they have forgotten and disregarded it, but God has willed for them to remember it. So that lets me know that it's in there, and it's really my job to like sort of pull it up, and I sort of wonder, with the type of audience we talk to on the Spiritist Center, maybe this is really obvious to certain people. Like they might just read this and be like, oh yeah, like, and just gloss it over. For me, it's like I'm still working on this, and it's something that's very real to me. It's very real as I'm, getting up every day and going to work, and interacting with my coworkers. I don't want to say dealing with them, because maybe they're dealing with me, but let's say we're interacting together. And then we go to the Spiritist Center and we meet people, and or if you're involved in other type of activities, whatever type of volunteer work you're doing, or if you're somebody that's goes to the gym a lot, you interact with people wherever you go, you always find people, and we're always we're always finding, a lot of times, I want to say, wherever there's people and we're interacting, there's always going to be conflicts. They might be little, they might be bigger, but we always find for me, I had a job before, and I had a coworker that I couldn't stand. So I said, you know what, I'm going to get rid of this job. I'm going to go to a new place. I'm going to work in a new place. I'm not going to have to see this guy again. I go to the new job, and there's a guy that I like even less. And this has been a pattern for me. And I'm like, you know what, I realize that I can't just change jobs like over and over again, because I'm going to keep running into that same guy. I'm like, this is just going to keep happening. So it's the same guy with different face. So I say, I got to just stay here and work on this and figure out, like, try to find the way through it, instead of trying to avoid it. So yeah, I don't know if other people, maybe this is like really obvious to them, and if it is, show me how to do it. But if you're like me and you still have trouble, figuring out sometimes, like, what's the right thing to do, we'll keep studying. So it reminded me of a Zen story. I love my Zen stories. So there was a story, there was a Zen master who would hold an annual retreat. Every year he would invite, let's say about 100 students to come to his Zen temple or monastery, and they would spend a weekend in retreat. And during one of these events, 100 students came, and one of them was caught stealing. So the students gathered together, they brought it to the master's attention, and the master listened to them, but then he did nothing. The next day, the same student was caught stealing again. So this time, all the students got very angry, and they gathered together with the master, and they said, we expect you to either do something about this, or else we are all going to leave as a body. And the master looked at them and said, okay, you are all very wise people. You know right from wrong. If you wish to leave, you may leave. But our brother here does not even know right from wrong. So who will teach him if I do not? And as the story goes, the student who was caught stealing was washed over in tears, and all desire to steal had vanished. So that's a great Zen story. And when I read a story like that, I can actually identify with all three characters in the story. I can identify with the people who felt like some justice should be done, and I can also identify with the Zen master, where everybody's looking to me for answers at certain times. And I can identify with the thief, because I can identify. I can say I've made mistakes before. I've done wrong, And I've been very fortunate that in certain cases, you know, I haven't been kicked out of the Spiritist Center yet, you know, and people have been kind to me, and I haven't always been, what I want to say, like punished as harshly as the crime, you know. So I've been fortunate in my life, but it makes me think about, you know, when we see situations like this in the Spiritist Center, we see, you know, in work, we see them, you know, wherever we go. Sometimes we see injustice and we demand action, you know, and how often are we really practicing patience and tolerance and benevolence? And what that story really teaches us as well is that it says it, I want to say in question 914, I'll paraphrase it for you, that they talk about how it's in the section at the end of the moral laws about being a moral person, and it says basically that the key to getting over this, to, you know, getting over our ignorance, to learning right from wrong, is through education. So rather than condemning our brothers and sisters, we should do the best we can to provide the education, to make the environment where they can actually have the opportunity to learn right from wrong. So, in my studies, when I say studies, it makes it sound like I did a lot of work. It wasn't that much work, but I was trying to find as much information on the topic as I could, and you know, a couple questions stood out to me. Question 632, where Allan Kardec asks, since humans are prone to error, couldn't they be mistaken in discerning good from evil and believe that they are doing what is good when in reality they are doing what is evil? And the Spirit's answer, this is one of their great answers. They said, Jesus said, do unto others what you would want them to do unto you. That sums up everything. Obey it and you will never be wrong. So we always hear about the golden rule, and this is the golden rule, is to, when these moral dilemmas pop up, when things pop up and we're not really sure what's right or what's wrong, we should always try to pass it through this gate. You know, is this what I would want somebody to do to me? You know, and that is a really good, now that doesn't always cover 100%, because even though here they say obey it and you'll never go wrong, they do say in another question, well, this doesn't really cover everything. So it could be the language they use, it could be the translation, but it is a very good gate to, you know, let the, you know, take that perspective when we're looking at solutions to our problems. We're not sure what's the right thing to do. You know, if we're faced with two different solutions, we're not sure which one's right or wrong. Always look at that. What is that? Is this what I would want somebody to do to me? And then the next question, 633, is actually where I got the title for this talk, because I didn't want to call this talk What's Right and What's Wrong, because I was like, nobody's going to listen to that. But I call it Enough is Enough, then it sounds more interesting. So in 633, Allan Kardec asks, the rule of good and evil, which may be called the rule of reciprocity or solidarity, does not apply to individuals' own conduct regarding themselves. So we're talking about, how do I treat myself? Can they find a rule and a safe guide for such conduct in natural law? So he's asking, you know, through natural law, through God's laws, how do I know how I should be treating, you know, acting towards myself? You know, this is kind of an interesting idea. And when the spirits answer, they say, when you eat too much, it harms you. Well then, that is God letting you know how much you really need. And when you exceed it, you are punished. So God's not punishing us. We punish ourselves, through our own greed, through our own selfishness, by being self-centered, by wanting more for me. we take too much, we bite off more than we can chew, and we we reap the reward for that, being a punishment. The same applies to everything else. Natural law outlines for all humans the limit of their needs, and when they exceed that limit, they are punished by suffering. If they would always listen to that voice that says enough, they would avoid most of the ills they accuse nature of. And, when I read that, I really thought, I said I wasn't going to talk about the pandemic, but that does kind of segue nicely into this pandemic situation. When we're looking at the quarantine and people, for the first time in a long time, we're seeing a lot of people staying home and paying attention to a lot of things that they may have ignored for quite a while. And, and things are popping up, and, people are all over social media, and, and some people are really taking this opportunity where they might have more time at home and more time to read and study and look into things, and a lot of people are really taking this opportunity to reevaluate, some of the decisions that they've been making. And we're really seeing a lot of people are saying, like, maybe I've been greedy, maybe I've been selfish. I've been actually looking at things because I've been like staring at like my income and my outflows of cash and looking like, do I really need to like spend this money on a new camera and stuff like that? All the crazy stuff that I've been doing. And I'm actually really like looking. I hate to say that, like, it's been actually a positive experience for me that I've been like paying more attention to, like, what do I really need, and where have I been excessive, and and where can I, and then the truth is, like, all that excessiveness in my life isn't making me happier. It's only like just adding more stress to my life. So this time, as stressful as it is with everything going on and all the uncertainty we've been experiencing, it's actually been kind of a relief that it's like I kind of go off autopilot and start to pay attention, to things more often, and really take a look at, what do I want to have in my life. My friend used to tell me about this, a quick prayer. For people who don't know how to pray, he would say, God, thank you for everything you've given me. Thank you for everything you've taken away from me. And thank you for everything you've left me with. And we talk a lot about this being a great opportunity for mankind, and people really aren't sure, but a lot of people are saying, like, people have been saying that the ozone is healing itself and that the smog is clearing away, and that this is a great opportunity. And some people are saying, well, things will never be the same. And some people say, oh, that's great. And some people say, oh, this is terrible. So it reminds me of another Zen story. And I'm afraid if I tell you all the Zen stories I know, then I'll have nothing left for the next palestra. But I'll just say one more, and this will be a good opportunity to close. So stop me if you've heard this one. But there's a story of a village that had a boy and a Zen master. And one day, the village got together and they bought the boy a horse. And they went to the Zen master and said, "This is wonderful, the boy got a horse." And the Zen master said, "We'll see." And then one day the boy is riding the horse and he falls off the horse and breaks his leg. And the people from the village go, "This is terrible, he broke his leg, this is awful." And the Zen master said, "We will see." And then later on, there was a war that broke out, and soldiers came to draft. And because the boy had a broken leg, he wasn't drafted into the war. And the people from the village said, This is wonderful. He had a broken leg and now he can't fight in the war. And the Zen master said, we will see. So I think it's important, always take the long view, not to judge things as they're happening. You know, we can speculate, but the truth will come, the truth will be revealed to us. And like all things, hindsight is 2020, so we will see. So thank you so much for listening if you're out there. Of course, I don't have my phone or anything here, so I can't see who's viewing or commenting, or maybe I have something stuck in my teeth. But appreciate everybody. You know, even though things are kind of weird, we're still kind of like showing up and doing our lectures, and we're trying to make things feel kind of normal. So appreciate it. So we have some announcements. Let me know when we're ready. Just a few reminders, and a lot of us have heard them over and over again. We ready? Next week, next Wednesday evening, 8 p.m., we have Inara Hosha talking about disciples of all nations. This one's going to be a scorcher, so make sure you tune in. We're broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube, whichever you prefer. The Broward Spiritist Society Facebook page or the YouTube page, 8 p.m. If you're watching this, you probably already know, but tell your friends, share it, like it, subscribe. If you're on YouTube and you hit subscribe, that's one thing, but next to the subscribe button is a little bell icon. If you click the bell, you can turn on notifications, so when we go live, you'll get a notification on your phone, so you'll never miss it. If you're interested in that. On Facebook, you can also, like, besides just liking the Broward Spirit Society page, if you click follow, you'll get a notification every time they go live. So that way, if you want to be there as it's happening, you want to be notified, you want to be in the know, make sure you either follow, or on YouTube, make sure you click the bell, right? Also, our center is doing a food drive. So if you're interested, this Saturday, April 25th, we have lasagna. I've already put my order in. So we're still practicing social distancing. All the lasagna has been sterilized. But if you are interested, what you do is you text this number on the screen, and you'll be given a time to arrive, and then they'll tell you what time to arrive to pick up the lasagna. Right? The price is $12. I would never miss an opportunity for lasagna, so let's just say that. All right. Other than that, what else can I say about that? We still have our meetings, meditation meeting Tuesday evenings, 7 p.m. That's being live streamed. So if you want information on that, get in touch with us, because we don't have the link here on the screen. I want to say it's on a Zoom meetup, so we can get that information for you. At 8 p.m. on Tuesday, there's a study group in the realms of mediumship, still happening. I believe they're on Zoom, so you just go on and you can actually participate. You can ask questions, you can get answers, and it's almost better than being there in real life. All right, so that's the announcements. So we'll do a quick prayer in closing. Let's just take a moment and reflect on the words we've heard tonight. Let's ask the good spirits to be with us, to carry the light with us. And let's take every opportunity we can to take the next steps on our personal evolution. And let's take every opportunity to look at ourselves, to look at our actions, to look at our motivations, And at the end of each day, we can ask ourselves, have I done anything that somebody would hold me accountable for? Have I done any wrong today? Is there anything in myself that I should correct? And with each new day, we can take that opportunity to better ourselves, to overcome our patterns, our selfish tendencies, and every day follow the footsteps of our Master Jesus Christ, who told us, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That each day we can learn to love more, starting with ourselves, starting with our family, starting with our coworkers, our friends, and the strangers we meet, that we can be an example of that light that shines from within. Now, we don't have to preach it, we don't have to say anything, that people can see it by the way that we live our lives. They can see by our example that Jesus lives in all of us, in our hearts. And that in that way we can carry the message through our actions. So very grateful for this opportunity, grateful for all the people near and far, listening, searching, keeping hope alive. And may we all go from here tonight with peace in our hearts. Thank you for this opportunity, and so be it.